and welcome to Hive Tools, collaborative tools for your business. On today's screencast, we're going to talk through the user management side of the system, creating accounts, bringing other users into your account, and also adding contributors to your projects. Let's dive straight in and create a new account. I've filled in a few details here to get us started for a friend of mine. The password needs to be at least 8 characters long, needs to have uppercase and lowercase characters, should have a number and some punctuation. As you fill it in, you'll see that you get a progress bar towards the bottom of the screen that shows you whether you've fulfilled all of the requirements. Next, we move on to the domain. Now, domains are really key to Hive Tools. They provide the method for all users to get together to collaborate on projects. We've even written an article about it up here on the help menu to give you some more information. In Hive Tools, information and resources are bundled together in jobs, and domains provide a way to map which users can access which jobs. There are 3 classes of users on a domain. The first class is admins. Admins control the domain settings, and also the users who access the domain. More on that later. Next, we have users. Users can set up jobs and change job settings, but can't control other users or domain settings. And finally, we have contributors. Contributors are users from other domains who you want to bring in to work on a job on a case-by-case basis. Now, when you log into Hive Tools, you're actually logging into a domain, so it's vital that every user belongs to at least one domain. And that's why when we set up an account from scratch, we ask you to create a domain there and then so that you have a domain to belong to. In the case of our friend here, the choice is obvious. The domain name is the description of the organization that the individual belongs to, whereas the domain link is the word that will appear in the link when you come to log in. Domain links can't have any spaces and should all be lowercase. You can, however, use an underscore. So let's sign up our friend and get going. Let's change a few things. First of all, let's edit the profile for our guest and perhaps give them a profile picture. This is really straightforward. Just browse through, select the image and click Upload to create the picture. Another common change people like to make is to alter the notification settings. Here you can change the frequency with which you get emailed notifications. We recommend hourly, but you can change that to instant or daily. As we mentioned, users can also belong to more than one domain. To change the domains that you have access to, simply click on the menu and select the other domain. Because we created the domain, we're automatically a domain administrator, which allows us to edit the settings of the domain. The most regularly used features here are to add a domain logo, which is very similar to adding a profile picture. And we can edit other administrative users and regular users of the domain. Probably the most used feature, though, is to create other users within our domain. Let's jump in and create a new user. Here I've entered a few details for a new user to our system. We can either specify the password for this user, or we can use this button to generate a valid password for them. We can either just choose to create the user, or if we click this checkbox, we can send an email directly to the user straight away, which will have their username, their password, and the login link for your domain. Let's do that now. Okay, so with the user created, we can now enter and edit some details for the user. We can change their name, or we can reset their password and send new details to them by email straight away. Users can always choose to reset their own password either on the sign-in screen or from the menu option top right. If we now take a look in the domain, we can see that our friend is a domain user. And if we log in, we can see that our friend doesn't have access to any of the users from our domain. Whatever your level of access privilege, you can always create a new, fresh domain, which you will become the administrator for. Feel free to create your own domain and bring other users into that. Switching back to our first user, let's create a job and bring in a contributor. Now, a job number should be unique within your domain, but the job name can contain anything you like. With the job created, we can now change the settings. Don't forget, any user can change the settings, not just administrators. Switching down to the job contributors, let's bring another friend to the party. We can always remove contributors or users by simply clicking the red X. Let's quickly flip accounts to see what that view looks like. Here we can see a contributor has very limited access to the domain. They can only open the jobs they have access to and open modules within that. Switching over to this user's home domain, we can see they have full control over users and domain accesses and jobs. What happens if we want to make one of our contributors a full domain user? Well, by becoming a domain user, you're effectively giving the administrator of the domain certain powers over your account, such as changing your password, which will allow the domain administrator to access your account. As such, it's really important that contributors consent to becoming a domain user. We've attempted to add a contributor as a user, which has sent a request to this user. Let's see what that looks like to them. Here, we see the user's received a notification. This would also come through by email. The notification tells the user that they've been invited to join the domain, and following the link, explains the process and offers them the ability to join. Simply click the button, and that user has consented to become a member. They can then log into the domain as a full user with all the privileges that go along with it. Notifications can be cleared down from the notifications menu either with the red X, or you can remove all of your notifications with one click. And that's domains and user management in a nutshell. Don't forget, for more information, you can visit the detailed explanation via the help menu, or just drop us a line via admin@hive-tools.com.